If you clicked on this video, you're an absolute basketball sicko, or you're a Wizards fan, which at this point is basically the same thing. Because you're probably wondering, why in the world am I making a video talking about the Washington Wizards? Well, because I think this team is going to be so bad that it might be kind of fun. Like, you're probably generally aware of all the younger guys on the team, what the roster looks like, but when you really look at the entirety of the team, this is just a complete disaster on purpose. Let's talk first about Anthony Bennett. Sorry, it actually says Alex Sarr in my notes. I based off Summer League, I got kind of confused. You know, Alex Sarr looked almost exactly like Anthony Bennett as someone just does not contribute when they're out there. Like, I understand that it is just Summer League, and everybody knew that this draft class was not very good. But if there was a Summer League example of a guy that almost immediately looked like he probably wasn't going to be worth the draft selection, it was Alex Sarr in Summer League this year, especially considering the guy that got picked immediately after him and Reed Sheppard was awesome for most of Summer League. And Summer League does not make or break a player's career, but you wanted to see something out of the guy. You wanted to see something defensively, some kind of shot creation, anything. And the numbers are terrible. The eye test was terrible. There's a real possibility that Alex Sarr is just not good at basketball. Now, granted, he was always a project pick, right? Like, that was really the reason that he was potentially going to be selected as high as he was, is what Alex Sarr is going to be 4 to 5 years from now. And the upside of a guy that can space the floor, have some creation ability, be a really good defender, rim protector, all that different stuff. Yeah, all that stuff can still be there. But if you're talking about this season for the Wizards, he's going to play. He's going to play a ton in that front court. Probably play a lot at the 4 alongside these other bigs. And a lot of it might look exactly like it did in Summer League, unfortunately. And the thing that's unfortunate for him as well is, like, the scenario in which Alex Sarr looks like he's good at basketball, whether it be this year moving forward, is nothing like the situation that Washington has right now. Like, that situation is he's the 3rd or 4th best player. He guards, he makes shots, occasionally creates for himself, but mostly he's just playing off of what other guys are creating. And that's certainly not the case for Washington this year, and probably won't be for the next couple years either, depending on their draft luck. And so he's going to be playing almost out of position, certainly outside of his role. They're going to give him the ball in the mid post and say, hey, go and create for us in the mid post. And there's going to be some crazy lowlights from him during the season. Now, I will say I'm kind of in on the rest of their draft. Bub Carrington looked good at Summer League and honestly might be the best guard on the team by the time the season is over. Like, he could be that good. That's not necessarily a high bar to clear. We're going to cover that later, but there's some scoring instincts here. He's bigger than you think that he is. He's extremely quick, athletic. I like his decision making. From a Summer League perspective, he was the best guy on the team. He looked more impressive than Alex Sarr. He looked more impressive than Keyshawn George, which is the other guy they picked. It's just going to be kind of a 3-and-D guy that shoots a ton of threes kind of player for them. But if you're looking for a bright spot this season, if for whatever reason you're like, you know what, I want to pull up the Washington Wizards game, Bub Carrington's probably going to be a guy you're going to want to watch. But honestly, the Alex Sarr thing, the rookies, that's not even what makes this team weird. When you look at this roster and you're just going through and you're thinking, yeah, I know who the young guys are. I know who the guys are that Washington has drafted the last couple of seasons. And then you're like, oh yeah, Malcolm Brogdon's on the team. Jonas Valanciunas is on the team, and they probably won't be, whether it be a couple weeks into the season or past the trade deadline. Those guys are both probably going to get moved, but like for the beginning part of the year, they're going to play, especially Valanciunas, because they signed him in free agency. Like, Malcolm Brogdon is just kind of there as a guy they got as a salary piece in a trade, but Jonas Valanciunas is going to play like real minutes for them. That front court is going to be like him, Alex Sarr, Rashawn Holmes, and like it's just going to be weird seeing a truly competent big man on the Wizards roster. Now, it's not like Valanciunas is going to go out there and average 20 and 8, but he can really do some work on the offensive glass. He's a bigger body for them. He's going to help them offensively, help create space for other guys. He's going to be terrible defensively the way he always is, but it's just weird to think, oh, we got all these young guys. We traded away Denny Avila because we want to be as bad as possible to try and improve our lottery luck, and then we're just going to sign Jonas Valanciunas. Now, it might make sense in a scenario which they can get value for him at the deadline. Then it's perfect. Then you're turning cap space into draft capital at the deadline, and that's exactly what you want to do if you're in the situation the Wizards are in. But just a reminder that Jonas Valanciunas and Malcolm Brogdon are on the Wizards this season. But this is where things truly get pretty unwatchable. Jordan Poole's still on the roster. He's in the second year of this giant contract that he signed with Golden State, and it was immediately a bad idea last year. Like, there's still the case to be made that the way that they moved things around, they got rid of Bradley Beal, got the Chris Paul contract, and then they sent that away to get Jordan Poole and some draft capital. Like, there's still a scenario in which that's a good move for Washington. But I think that part of the mindset for them was Jordan Poole is going to be an asset for them in the long term. He's going to continue to grow and improve. And as the contract starts to go away, he's going to be an asset at some point on that deal. And the way that things went last year, it seems extremely unlikely that that would actually be the case. And it went beyond that. Like, you can be not worth your contract. Like, Otto Porter for years was not worth his contract. Tobias Harris for years was not worth his contract. But they weren't actively detrimental to the team. They weren't an active, like, basketball embarrassment to the franchise. And unfortunately, that is the category that Jordan Poole found himself in at times last year. Like, there were multiple, like, oh, his controller just turned off moments on defense where he's just like looking around and then someone's cutting behind him and scoring. The shot selection obviously was terrible. And there's a possibility that Jordan Poole has a ton of DNPs this year where they're just like, okay, we'd rather play Bub Carrington. We'd rather play some of these other guards that we have and not have Jordan Poole be in the way. Like, yeah, he can create an occasional shot for himself or others, but it's just not the style of basketball that we want to be around all these other guys that we have. And again, just a reminder that Jordan Poole is still on the Wizards, as is someone that I don't think is going to be on the roster for the entire season, and that's Kyle Kuzma, because he's the best player on the team. And when you look at what they did this offseason, trading away Denny Avila, trading away some of these other guys, they want to be bad. Like, they want to win like 15 games this year. And Kyle Kuzma, I'm not trying to tell you he's a star or anything, but he is enough of a, connective piece for them that he could get them a couple of extra wins. If they really want to be the worst team in the league, the worst record in the league, Kyle Kuzma is probably going to be on the move. There's going to be, possible Lakers rumors. Any of these contenders, Kyle Kuzma is going to be able to help them. His deal is actually a bargain now as the salary cap continues to go up. And I think they could get good value out of him, out of Jonas Valanciunas at the deadline. And after the deadline, if they get rid of Kuzma, if they get rid of JV, this is going to be like approaching 2012 Charlotte Bobcats territory in terms of the talent level on the floor. I mean, it's going to be a bunch of guys on rookie contracts and Jordan Poole running around out there and Alex Sarr, who, might have one of the worst, most inefficient rookie seasons we've ever seen. Like, the post-trade deadline Washington Wizards might be a whole different level of atrocious. Oh, and by the way, Johnny Davis also still on the team. You want to talk about someone looking bad immediately the way we talked about with Alex Sarr? Johnny Davis still there, played Summer League, by the way, and still didn't look very good. But who knows? Maybe this is the year that Johnny Davis figures it out. But this last part is the funniest part of it all to me, is that there's all these pieces. The roster's just weird. The team's not going to be very good. But they have players I like still. I talked about Bub Carrington. I really like Bilal Coulibaly, probably more than I should. There is just something about the fluidity with which he moves with that I really, really like. I think he's going to continue to improve. And I like Corey Kispert. I think Corey Kispert's going to be a really solid professional basketball player for the next decade. Like, I think he's just going to be able to make shots and guard a little bit. He worked a little bit on his off the dribble game in terms of attacking closeouts and stuff. And whether it be in Washington or elsewhere, he's probably going to be pretty good. Like, he's probably going to be on that Denny Avila level of trade value if they ever decide to move him. And that to me just makes this a whole full circle situation for Washington. There's disasters in every corner. It's the terrible Jordan Poole contract. It's the bad vibes that Jordan Poole brings. It's the just the weirdness of the fact that Kyle Kuzma is the best player on the team, and you've got the potential disaster of Alex Sarr as a second overall pick. And then just over here in this corner, you've got, I kind of like Bub Carrington. I kind of like Keyshawn George. I kind of like Bilal Coulibaly. I kind of like Corey Kispert. And that just completes the whole, everything you need to put together truly the most unwatchable team in the league. Is there's just enough stuff that I kind of want to see how it works in a good way. There's just enough stuff there where it's like, I want to also watch it fall apart. Like, I want to watch Jordan Poole make terrible decisions. I want to watch and see just how bad Alex Sarr is going to be. Is Johnny Davis going to get out there and get some run? There's just a perfect mix of everything that makes a truly unwatchable team.